is the age of fast fashion and of low cost clothes, is it coming to an end?
I don't know, Shane. I know you and I were discussing this, and you feel perhaps it might be. I don't know. But what I do know is it's going to be extremely difficult for people. I think that the talk of fast fashion and people being sniffy about it is fine, in that they kind of go, oh, it's not sustainable, and if you're getting a new outfit every 2 weeks, that's crazy. But there are lots and lots of people who shop in Pennies not to get a new outfit every 2 weeks. They shop in Pennies because it's the only place that they can afford, and Pennies is affordable. And where you can't do away with fast fashion, it is in clothing your children, because they are growing. So you can't buy a lovely pair of trousers for your child and have them for 20 years, because it's an impossibility. They grow every couple of months. And there are people who cannot afford to clothe their families without the likes of Pennies. And I would worry about this. And partly when I hear the stuff about fast fashion and I hear the stuff about sustainability and all of those things, I think I'm listening to middle class voices, to be honest. That's what I think. And I think there are people out there that cannot afford an organic chicken, that cannot afford to shop in boutiques for themselves or their families. And I think we are seeing a division in society.
It's not about boutiques, Ciara. By the way, fast fashion isn't necessarily about cheap fashion. What fast fashion is about is having 1,000 range of products. No, hang on. Let me finish the point. It's also about changing trends and changing fashion, speeding up that cycle. So you've got like 7 or 8 cycles in a year. That's really what fast fashion is about. And as for cheap clothes, like whether we like it or not, and it will, of course it will be difficult. It definitely will be difficult for some people, although a lot of people going into Pennies are buying the 10 t-shirts, and you see them coming out when they're interviewed afterward. But that said, whether we like it or not, the cheap era of fashion is probably coming to an end, just like the era of cheap energy and probably cheap food is coming to an end, for a whole variety of factors. And we can rail against it, but it is the reality.
Well, then we are going to be looking at poorer people and people who have less income and are on lower incomes being even poorer again, because it is all. And I know exactly what fast fashion is, but fast fashion is also to do with cheap clothes, and some people simply don't have the money to shop outside the Pennies kind of end of the market. And I worry about those people because, as I say, particularly if you have children, there is no way of dealing with clothing them other than fast fashion, because they're growing.
I'm not accusing Pennies of this. It's also worth saying a lot of the really cheap clothes that are produced in third world countries in intolerable conditions. By the way, we throw away 63,000 tonnes of textiles in Ireland every year. Goes to landfill every year. So we're buying lots of clothes that we don't need. So
or maybe clothes are wearing out, because clothes do wear out.
63,000 tonnes, that's not clothes we don't need. Like a lot of it we're just thrown out because it's fast fashion. Let's get rid of that.
I think this is an issue that we hear a lot of middle class voices, and I'd like to hear from people who shop exclusively in Pennies and who feel that they can't afford to shop anywhere else, because when those places get dearer, you're going to see people struggle to clothe their families.